Onions, onions, la la la. Onions, onions, ha ha ha. Do 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 do.
Hello and welcome to Weave Your Web, Season 3, Episode 3. This is going to be a very lovely special episode because, by popular demand, Inbaal is back. How are you, Inbaal? How is it going?
Hi, Tor. It's going great. Hi. Thank you so much for having me back.
Of course, I say by popular demand because there was a cheeky little poll on the Spotify version of the show, and I asked, would people like Inbaal on the show regularly? And 100% said yes.
Oh, I didn't even know that we were talking regularly, but I am in.
And also, I forgot to tell you the last time that you were on, but do you remember our classic episode, we shall call it, from the very first time you were on, and you were talking about the boob readings?
Oh, yeah, historic.
100% of the voters from the re-released version of that episode, 100% said that they would be happy to have you give them a boob reading.
Well, I have to explain that it's really a lot like palmistry. So we can also do it with hands, which I thought sounded a lot more innocent, but now I realize does not.
And one other little sort of factoid, if you like, before we get into, you know, the meat and potatoes of the show. This is the third time you've been on.
Yeah.
It's the third episode of the third season. So sometimes with the show, I will have an angel number attached. So we've got 333, which is associated with intuition, manifestation, putting plans into motion. And isn't that just so perfect for what we're going to talk about? Because we are going to be talking about affirmations.
It's incredible. Did you know that I'm 3? My total numbers is when you add up my date of birth, it comes up to 21, which then comes up to 3.
I didn't know, but that doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you've got lovely 3 energy. I can't remember what mine is, actually. I can't remember. So yeah, we're going to talk about affirmations tonight. And first of all, I'm going to read a bit of an article. I'm not going to read the whole article, and the reason that I'm not reading the whole article is because it kind of poses a question and then answers itself from like a psychological point of view. So we're going to answer it from a more spiritual point of view. The article is by Nicole Lam. I hope I'm saying that correctly, Nicole. Please do give me into trouble if I didn't. And it reads, recently, while updating my computer login password, I swapped the usual jumble of letters and numbers for something unexpected. A cheesy positive reminder to hopefully lift my spirits. I love this already.
Yeah.
It felt silly, and I was embarrassed enough to keep sneaking glances. Wait. Yeah. I was embarrassed enough to keep sneaking glances over my shoulder in case someone noticed that I was typing I am enough 23 on my keyboard. Now you've just told everybody your password, Nicole. Still, in the days and weeks that followed, there was a small, almost massive word that I've never seen before in my life.
Oh, what is it? No, wait. Because I read it and I couldn't see any words that were tricky. It might be a word that's tripping you up.
It is,
but for its own reason.
It's a big word.
Let's see, because I think it's very
buoyancy.
meaningful.
Yeah.
Almost imperceptible buoyancy.
Yeah, in my mood.
There was
and how I thought.
Yeah, there was a small, almost imperceptible buoyancy in my mood.
Never seen that word before in my life. Ever.
Imperceptible or buoyancy?
Yeah. Oh, buoyancy, I know. The imperceptible. Never heard it before.
That's so interesting because I think okay, don't want to derail the conversation, but I think when there is um, something that a person habitually like doesn't notice,
Mm,
there is a message in there. And
interesting.
imperceptible is something that cannot be perceived, something that is so um, vague or hard to notice or gossamer thin. And it's interesting that imperceptible was so imperceptible to you.
It is interesting. It is interesting. We'll
Yeah,
talk about
anyway.
that later.
Yeah, we will.
I have now changed the passwords on all my devices and use phrases that convey similarly positive messages, such as capable, or even something I hope to achieve, such as endless good ideas. I really love this.
It's good.
It is not uncommon to see posters with messages of positive affirmations, posters or on neon signs, adoring walls of shops, gyms, and some homes. But I usually brush these off as decorative, something that businesses put up to create Instagram worthy backdrops. It's interesting because this particular guest article on the overall site, it's a mental health matters site. It's interesting that they've associated like a physical thing that's been around, you know, for a really, really long time, for decades and
Hmm.
decades, as, oh, they're taking that because it's like it's on Instagram, when no,
Yeah,
it's on Instagram because it's been on people's walls for, you know, 100 years.
yeah, yeah, that is funny.
Although, of course, there is still some possibility that a large neon sign staring you in the face day after day could send subliminal messages to your brain. Could typing a self-affirming password a couple of times a day, or pasting a small post-it note with a positive message on your mirror, have any effect? Did my new passwords really help me in a better, more motivated mood, or was it purely coincidence, Inbaal?
Well, I can't believe you said coincidence. Is that, do we even say it's a dirty word,
Yeah.
dirty, awful word? Um, I've got to tell you, I absolutely love it. I think it's a genius idea. And I also think, how did I miss that? Because I had a close friend, so close that I used to know her passwords, and she used to use that. And now I'm thinking, oh, wait, why did I never adopt that? I remember sitting, I don't obviously want to say who it is or sort of give any clues, but I remember sitting in her bedroom with a desktop. This is, I want to say, 17 years ago, something like that. It was 5 a.m. and she said, oh, could you check my email, check my Yahoo, because somebody we both knew who lived on the other side of the world is supposed to email me back. This is
Yeah.
before smartphones. And I said to her, are you logged in? She's like, no, log in for me. And I was like, what's the password? And she said, and I don't want to say exactly what it is because I have on good authority that she hasn't changed a lot of them. It was certainly not I am enough, a phrase I find so abhorrent,
Mm-hmm.
so underselling, so average that I don't consider it an affirmation at all. Being enough is not an aspiration. That's the bare minimum. You are so much more than enough. So the sentence that she gave me was not I am enough, but it was I am something much, much bigger than enough.
Yeah.
And she was a little cringed with it. And I was like, just that I typed it. Um, and it kind of stayed with me, but it never occurred to me to copy it, which now that you've raised it and that you showed me the article, I really think I will because there is no time that is a bad time for an affirmation.
Of
Do you know what I
course.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. That's a really good point. There's no time that's a bad time for an affirmation. It's not something that you have to do just in the morning or just in the evening, which I think a lot of the kind of more new age marketing kind of brings it to. They kind of say,
Yes.
oh, you have to do it at a specific time, you have to do it, and that's simply not true. You can do it whenever, however you want to. And I think a password is such a good idea because, like the article points out, we're putting passwords in constantly these days, whether it's your phone, email, as you say, or like, I don't know if you have this as much as myself, but you know, I'll have to log into different workplaces every day, and some of them they require you to put in the password every single time for security reasons. So, you know, there's passwords after passwords after passwords, and it's also a good way to remember them as well. And
yeah, because it's constant, and I think the best affirmations plant their roots in your mind and stay there until they're no longer necessary, until you've achieved whatever it is you want to achieve, or until you've assimilated the feeling that you are, in fact, at the very least, enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have workplaces to log into, but I don't use a lot of apps. I mostly log into things via browser. So I'm forever putting in my banking password. I'm forever putting in I also have like I want to say a shared laptop. I have 4 children, 2 of whom use my laptop here and there. It's not shared, and it's certainly not by choice. The choice is just to the choice is not to invest in their own. But it is important for me to sort of keep things protected. I also have to stand firm in the face of repeated hacking attempts.
Of course.
So I have to change my passwords regularly, even if it's just for my Instagram or for my Gmail. So I try to go for a specific password and then have versions of it all around so that they're not too different. But the ones I use are just not as memorable as the examples given. I really wish that, you know, somebody told me how to create a password rather than just sort of take whatever you had and add 2 exclamation marks on it.
I was going to say I've never really done affirmations as passwords either, and then I was thinking about it and I was like, no, I sort of did it without thinking. Because as you say, you often have to change passwords for, you know, hacking attempts, etc., and so on. And so, you know, it's good practice to just change passwords regularly anyway. And one set of passwords is affirmations. There might not be affirmations in your face affirmations, but they're certainly within that realm. And it was really interesting what you were saying there about how the affirmations take root in your brain. So from a law of attraction perspective, I am obviously a law of attraction coach / expert. I hate the word expert.
Yeah, but you know, but you are, so you know, deal with it.
Because that's exactly how the law of attraction works. The whole basic premise of the law of attraction, and I know a lot of people like to add a lot of complications to it, but it's really not that complicated, is like attracts like. And what a huge chunk, what the bulk of the coaching is actually teaching people to recognize and grab the negative thoughts that they're having and changing them to something positive. And it's not necessarily always an affirmation, but like Inbaal said, with the affirmations taking root in the brain, practicing positive affirmations is actually a really, really good positive law of attraction practice and technique. But I wanted to ask you, Inbaal, how do affirmations play in terms of how you manifest? You're a very, very good manifester. You talk about manifesting a lot. You talk about manifesting a lot from a witchcraft point of view too. So how do affirmations help on that side of things?
So from a witchcraft perspective, instead of saying like attracts like, we call it sympathetic magic, where the magic or the thing that you're trying to attract will kind of recognize and identify itself in something that you have, something that you're holding, something that you're doing, or something that you're thinking. And so, in the sense that if you light a green candle, and green is a color of healing, then health will draw itself to you. So it's like attracts like, but we call it sympathetic magic because of the recognition between the thing that you're doing here on this earth and the spirit or the spiritual aspect being drawn to you. So affirmations are a very crude type of sympathetic magic where you affirm that something is as it is, even if it isn't that yet. So if I say, one of my affirmations used to be, I earn blah, blah, blah per month.
Yeah.
And I affirmed it for a good year and a half before I got to that amount. And when I got to that amount, I just changed the affirmation and then changed it again when I not even got to that amount, when I got close. When I got close, I thought, let's shoot that little bit further. So from a witchcraft perspective, all you do from a sort of, I suppose, practical manifesting perspective, all you do is ask the universe for something using the language of the universe. And repetitions, I believe, reverberates through the universe to influence things in teeny tiny minute ways. But if you repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, and the more stubborn you are, the better your manifesting will be. Repeat it, repeat. Do not take no for an answer. Eventually, it'll come to you. Sometimes very quickly. I say eventually, it makes it sound slowly, but sometimes very quickly. And I think the beauty of affirmations, so many beauties, but the beauty of affirmations is that it fits perfectly with literally any other spell technique. Candle magic, put affirmation on it. Cord magic, put a little affirmation on it. Washing your crystals and placing them under the full moon, put an affirmation on it.
Is there a way that affirmations kind of interact with the tarot from two perspectives? I would like to look at that from, if you don't mind. When doing readings, do you perhaps sometimes see an affirmation for the particular client in the cards? And do you feel that there's particular affirmations already associated with particular cards?
Actually, when I was still learning the tarot, I had two books. One kind of general book that didn't ascribe to a specific deck. It used a specific deck as the examples, but it was really sort of very broad in its approach. And then I was also learning from a book specific to the Thoth Tarot deck. It's called Mirror of the Soul. It's by Gerd Ziegler, and it used to come as standard when you'd get the kind of deck and book. I don't believe that pack is available anymore, but it's very easy to get a hold of the book. So much so that when I used to do my Instagram Inbaal's Awesome Sunday Live, I mentioned this. Oh, they were fun, weren't they?
They were great.
I mentioned on the live that I used to have that book and I no longer have it. I must have lent it to someone. And somebody watching, a witch from not very far from me, sent me a spare copy that she had. So that's how easy those are to find. You just have to say them isn't it? Just have to say them on a line when it arrives. But what is beautiful about the mirror of the soul is that each card has the keywords, a description, an interpretation, a question to get you, kind of thinking about what's in the card, a suggestion for like a meditation, and eventually there is an assertion, which is literally an affirmation. And so, for example,
Yeah.
let's do a bit of bibliomancy. Let's just sort of open the book where it will open. So I've got the Seven of Wands for you, Thor.
Oh.
And the affirmation that goes with it is I represent my own reality openly and honestly.
It's really
So,
funny that you should get the Seven of Wands. I
is it?
pulled a
Tell me,
card.
John.
I pulled a card for myself for something earlier. I can't talk about it on the show, unfortunately. And guess what card it was?
If you don't say the Seven of Wands, that would be a rubbish story.
It
It would
would.
be a real
It
non-story.
would be a
It's the
total
Seven of
non-story.
Wands.
Yeah, and then I put
Yeah,
it back in because sometimes when you're pulling cards for yourself, you put it back in and you double
yeah.
check. Seven of Wands again. So the fact that that's come up is
Wow.
amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Can you just read the
yeah.
affirmation for me again, please?
Yep. I represent my own reality openly and honestly.
That is
That's really
amazing.
interesting because it's you giving yourself permission to have a reality that's not necessarily aligned with everybody else's reality. That's their problem. And and it calls on you to do so openly and honestly. So there is nothing to be embarrassed about, there's nothing to be uncomfortable about. And so I learned the tarot via affirmations, and I remember that the version I had, I think, used to be called something like The Fool Speaks. Yeah, there must be, it's
Mm,
translated from German, so it must have been um, different translations, and maybe it was called an affirmation in the version I used to have.
yeah.
Um, oh yeah, yeah, because I'm going through the book now, and it's got all the three cards of the magician, which the book I had certainly didn't, because the Thoth has three versions of the Magus. But the original version was The Fool Speaks, and
Mm,
so I would read out as if it's in that card's voice, and so I would build very strong relationships with the cards and how the characters felt. But then it was actually the affirmation that made me understand each card on a very profound soul connection. So I feel that affirmations and the tarot are intricately linked, but also I find that, as I'm sure you do, in a lot of readings, the client needs to walk away with an affirmation or nine just
or
to
nine.
boost themselves up. It's my favorite number for affirmations, just to boost themselves up. And it's actually a service that I provide in some of my more in depth readings. That if you want to walk away with a list of affirmations,
Mhm.
I don't do it as part of the reading, as something that I do afterwards when I sit down and think about it by myself and type it out and send it to the person as kind of an extra deluxe um, addition. So yeah, I think the tarot and affirmations, or not just the tarot, I think readings and affirmations are very closely linked, because I think the best reading will boost you up, and an affirmation will just put an extra bit of turbo on that boost.
Yeah, the affirmation, if an affirmation comes through for a particular client in a reading, I feel like it's just that real kind of cherry on the cake. I feel like it's something
Yeah,
that they can take away with them, um, you know, use it, obviously, of course. And then they often, I'm sure you find this too, 9 times out of 10, they'll come back and they'll go, oh, that really worked, thank you.
yeah, Yeah, absolutely. Because I think you can't go wrong with an affirmation. There's no way it can backfire
Mm,
if you do an affirmation right.
yeah,
Don't ask for things that shouldn't be in your path. Don't ask for things that are detrimental to other people. Don't ask for things that are detrimental to yourself. Keep them um, in the present tense. Keep them in the first person. But a good solid affirmation, how can it backfire? It
it
cannot.
can't. It can't. How do you feel? What do you think about affirmation led meditations? You mentioned meditations there as part of the tarot book.
Mm.
How do you feel about affirmation led meditations? You know the ones I've actually made ones like this. There was a meditation special a few episodes back, including one called the affirmation meditation. Um,
Cute.
is that something that you use? Is that something that you do with people? Is that something that you advise where it is like the repetitive affirmations with the meditation music, or do you feel like it should just be like the music, or sitting peacefully and maybe just keeping the affirmation in mind, or a little bit of both?
I don't use them, but I think an affirmation can add to any practice. It doesn't take away from any practice and it adds to any practice. And I've not done a meditation affirmation personally, not for me and not for others, but
Mm,
I still think it's a fabulous way to drill a bit of self belief
yeah.
into a person. And you know how much I love Snoop Dogg's affirmation song that he's got for in his kids album. So it's so uplifting, and it's kind of himself with a little band of kids.
Mm,
And he says, "There is no one better to be than myself." And the kids are like, "There is no one better to be than myself." And then he goes, "I'm going to have an amazing day." And the kids are like, "I'm going to have an amazing day." And then, actually, an affirmation that never occurred to me but made me cry when I first heard him sing it: "My feelings matter." And
yeah.
the kids are like, "My feelings matter." So that is, I suppose, an affirmation meditation after a fashion as well. I think it absolutely works.
Me too. Me too. I think it's a wonderful way of, kind of again getting them rooted in the brain. I really love how you put that earlier on in the show. I'm going to be using that from now on. Rooting them in the brain. And the song that you mentioned is a really, really good, example of that, because it's catchy, and you're singing along and you don't even realize that it's rooting in the brain, so you're getting all this positive affirmations and what have you, without even realizing that you're practicing an affirmation, because you're singing along, enjoying the song, enjoying the children's callbacks, and then it's
Yeah.
it's there. It's right there, rooted in the brain.
And I think it's something that I very subtly even use in parenting.
Mm,
So children are all different and people are all different, and
yes.
some are more naturally, will hype themselves up. All of my children were raised in the same household with the same parents, with the same, with the same everything,
Yeah.
the same room for a lot of the time. Um, and some of them are a lot better at hyping themselves up. And one of them is much more, shall we say, humble in a way that if I didn't know that I raised them, I would be worried. And so with that one, I don't just say to him, "I am proud of you. I think, your drawing is amazing." I go, "Who am I proud of?" And he says, "Me." And that is a miniature, teeny, teeny, tiny affirmation. Who does good drawings? Me. And
Oh,
that is a teeny little extra brick in building his confidence, is in building his self-esteem. And I think confidence and affirmations are interwoven together
yes, I
because
agree.
the more confident you are, the more your affirmations will bang, and the more your affirmations kind of carry you, the more confident you'll become. Because when you are confident, you can do literally anything. It's not just that you don't take no for an answer. You hear a no and it doesn't devastate you at all.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
hear a no when you're confident and you're like, oh, that was probably not the right one for me. So let's see how I get what I want
yeah.
some other way. Or maybe I'll ask again. Maybe I'll ask again because you're confident. You don't really care about asking again. Who cares if they think I'm a bit of a nag? Okay, I'm asking. If it's a no, it's a no. It's no bother. So when you have that level of confidence, more things will happen for you. So an affirmation is just, one of the easy quick fire routes to get you to that level of mindset, even if you're to not believe in the magical powers of affirmations, which I happen to believe in.
Me too. I
Thank
do.
you.
But there is also, um, I don't want to get too deep into it because it's not, it's not what we're here for. But
Yeah.
there is psychological evidence that back up affirmations and stuff too. So it's not just a magical thing. It's not just, a kind of, I feel like the new age is kind of leached onto it a lot. It's not just the new age thing.
Mm.
It's not just a magical thing. There is, psychological evidence that backs it up, and you see similar things. They might not be called affirmations, but you see similar things used in different types of therapies.
Mm. Tell me.
Like CBT therapy uses something similar where, again, a little bit like law of attraction, where you're catching the thought and you're replacing it, and maybe you're replacing it with a positive phrase, or you might be replacing it with a distraction which kind of changes the pathways so that you are
Mm.
not focusing on like the negative thing that might be whirling around your head. So it might not be labeled as affirmations, but it's very, very similar, sometimes almost identical, and if not identical, just a step away from. So it's really not,
Yeah.
it's not. I'm kind of one of those people who, I do this show, I do readings and all of that, but I do like to keep a toe a little bit in science. And so
Yeah.
if there's something that I'm doing, if there's something that I'm talking about, something that I'm offering, and there is a little bit of scientific or psychological, in this case, back up with that, it kind of makes me feel more confident in what I'm talking about, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. The psychological um evidence of it must be in place. I'm no psychologist, but I can only assume the magical evidence of it is, without a doubt in place. But I feel like there's also a good place in the middle for the way that it's just used by regular everyday people in regular everyday
That's
situations.
true.
And
Yeah.
those post-its on the mirror, it was really funny that that came up in the article because years ago, this is gosh, it's probably something like 27, 28 years ago, I was, I want to say, hounded by a network marketing person. This woman, she used to sell Amway International. She sort of roped me in. It was probably the worst £70 I ever spent
Oh
because I
no.
never made a sale because she got me to sort of buy in, with lies. But I was in her house once and the network marketing kind of persona, it really sort of came from America. So there were a lot of American techniques. And in the same way that here in the UK, it's very natural for people to talk themselves down and to not
Yeah.
be, and to kind of be sarcastic about yourself and so on. In American culture, it's a lot more sort of encouraging. And she had something I had never seen before, and it was a post-it
Hmm.
on her mirror that just very simply said, I feel great.
I
That
love
was it.
that.
It was brilliant. But it was the first time I saw one of those. And I thought, wow, that is interesting because when I looked at it,
Mm.
it made me feel great. I felt like it was the voice in my head saying it.
Yeah.
And and that's it. And your brain can't tell the difference. So it's something that's not like a full psychological, research piece.
Mm.
She was certainly no witch, but affirmations are really one of those super tools that can be used by anybody of any age in any situation to give them that boost.
Have you ever done it with the mirror yourself? A post-it or similar?
I was going to say no, and I feel like I've got a very, very, very faint memory. Did I? Yeah, I had some post-its on a wall once. I think I've really got to that age that I can't recall everything really, really well because when I was going to say no, I thought, no, that is a lie. But where and how would I have used them? Because I've always used affirmations.
Yeah.
I bought a book that was called something like Miracles. It was a teeny tiny book that you buy like towards the till at a bookstore. And that introduced me to affirmations. I didn't know that's what they were, but that would have been something like, I don't know, 1998, something like that. So I've been using affirmations for that long. So I must have experimented with writing them, with hanging them around me, but I can't recall exact details. Did you do the mirror?
I did. I did do the mirror. I don't have big mirrors around, so I tend to have like smaller mirrors that I can tuck away. And when I was in recovery from the serious part of my eating disorder, I had taken my Hello Kitty pink lip balm and I wrote on every mirror. I can't remember exactly what it was that I wrote because sometimes it would, I'd wipe it off and I'd change it to something else as the recovery period was going on. But yeah, I took I remember very specifically it was pink Hello Kitty lip balm, and I would write
Ah,
on the
so
mirror
cute.
so that when I brought the mirror out from where it was tucked away, it was the first thing that I was seeing. I was seeing, the affirmation before I'd even saw my face.
Oh, that's really good preparation. And it's an affirmation in itself because you knew that you'd be back.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's also positive.
I found it really helpful and really, really powerful. And just affirmations around that time in general kind of kept me head above water, so to speak, when all of that was going on. So yeah, I think the mirror affirmations are really, really good, even if they are simple, even if it is just beautiful or confident or spectacular. Just a single word around the mirrors, I think, can be really, really so empowering.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to overlook the place that casual affirmations have in our, just everyday conversation. But I feel like we affirm ourselves, we affirm each other. When somebody says, how are you? And you say fine, even though you're not,
Mm,
there's an affirmation right there.
yeah, yeah.
And, at the moment when I talk to my family who are in a war zone, we end conversations by saying, "Yeah, beseder, it will be all right. Everything will be all right." It's an affirmation. Now, we don't have any specific intel that anything will be all right. This is not based on a true story,
But you're
but
affirming it. You're making it so.
we're affirming it.
Yeah.
We're making it so it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Peace will come. Peace will come. Yeah, yeah. Facts on the ground are disputable, but we're affirming this is how we end conversations. And I feel like there's a lot of little regular verbal and mental tics where humans affirm because it is part of human nature, that we're looking at it like a big phenomenon, maybe even a modern phenomenon, but it's not. It's something that is very intrinsic to who we are and what we are as human beings.
I agree with that 100%, and it's really interesting to put it in the perspective of it's human nature.
I really think optimism is.
Yeah, I do too, but you don't hear many people say that, do you?
You don't. But I think at the heart of it, people pushed to bring people at their lowest ebb can make it back, as long as there is that modicum of optimism that will get them affirming to themselves, if I just try one more time, if I just try a little bit harder, if I just, if I just do it, if I just sort of survive this night, then, maybe things will be better in the morning. And an affirmation is a way to channel that emotion.
It is a very powerful way to channel that emotion. Thank you so much for all your beautiful affirmation insights, Inbaal. That was absolutely fantastic.
It's like one of my absolute favorite topics. As a full-blown witch, I believe that there is no greater magic than affirmations. You could leave everything behind. You could leave the wands and the candles and the pentacle and the whips and the big broomsticks.
Did you say the whips?
Yeah, maybe a different episode.
Not the
whips. You could leave them behind. I mean, you don't have to. You could take your whips with you, but you could leave them behind. And you could just take your mental capacity and your affirmations and start a whole magical practice. And that will be enough. That is good use of the word enough.
That is a good use of that is the proper word. That is the proper use for the word enough.
Yeah, that was correct.
Do you know every time I hear the word enough, it makes me think of, have you seen that Jennifer Lopez movie Enough?
No, I don't think so. Is it good?
It's probably one of her best movies, and it was quite early on in her career. I don't want to spoil it for you or anybody who hasn't seen it. But it's about somebody who, it was kind of as you were describing, it's about somebody who was at their lowest ebb and then becomes really strong and really powerful just by sheer grit and determination.
Wow.
And so anytime I hear the word enough used correctly, it makes me remember that movie, because it is, it is that journey of lowest ebb becoming so strong. Do you have your cards to hand?
I do, as a matter of fact, yeah.
Okay. What I would like us to do is just take a general card, maybe two cards, just for anybody who might be listening. And I always have to put a little disclaimer at this part of the show. If this doesn't resonate for you, it is not for you. Don't take it and try and squeeze it in like Tetris. If it resonates, please take the messages, take the information, run with them. If it doesn't, That's fine. Just enjoy listening. So Inbaal, I think, is going to go first.
So what I've got here for the person listening is the Three of Cups card. It is the card of overflowing love, love that then develops into something more. Um, this is if you're deciding to bring a cat to the household, bring a budgie, adopt a tiger in the wilds, or have a baby. That decision is born of love, and it is the right decision for you. There's a symbol here with some bells missing. What it says to me, person listening, is that you're trying not to make a big hoo ha about your decision. But like I said, it's a decision born of love. Absolutely celebrate it. What have you got there, Tor?
That's beautiful. I really like that. I pulled 2 angel cards for the general message for whomever this might resonate with. And the first one is purpose. The first one is purpose, and it feels as though there's an overwhelming feeling with this of the purpose. Your purpose is about to enter your life, and that could be, as Inbaal was saying, it could be bringing an animal or deciding to have a baby. It could be that, you know, your purpose is to nurture, is to, you know, look after. And the second card that came up here is restoration. And it goes along with the purpose card really well. The angels are conveying the message here that your purpose will bring restoration. The purpose will make you feel whole again, because maybe the person or people who this is resonating with, maybe they've been feeling like there's a little bit missing. Maybe they've been feeling a little bit low and not exactly sure what they should be doing. Once that purpose comes in, you will feel complete. And it might even be something that you've done before. They're actually showing me, I was going to say funnily enough, but maybe not funnily enough, they're actually showing me somebody on a stage performing. And I feel like just the kind of message with that is to display it might be something that you've done before. It might be getting back to something that you were previously really good at. It might not be singing. I think that's just the way that they were illustrating it to me. So yeah, absolutely beautiful general message there. Thank you very much for that, Inbaal.
Thank you. That was fun to do together.
It was. It's always lovely getting to do the readings with you, because we've done that a little bit on your show, haven't we? Do you want to tell us about your show?
Absolutely, and your upcoming show that's not even been announced yet. But yes, both Tor and me, in one way or another, are involved with the Bigfoot Outlaw channel on YouTube and all good podcasting channels. And on my show, I bring on my beloved psychic friends and introduce different ways of doing readings and do demonstrations of readings and some joint readings for the two of us. Very much, I think, like a variety show, you know, where you'd bring your friends and kind of sing with them and everybody claps, but without the singing, which, you know, only one of us could do. So, you know what's crazy? Yesterday, day before, I got this is a photo from last year notification on my phone, and that was the first time I was on the Bigfoot Outlaw true crime podcast.
Do you want to know what's even crazier?
Tell me.
We're just shy of the 7th anniversary of the first time you were on here.
Oh.
Just shy. Just a couple of days shy.
I didn't know that. I remember exactly where I was. I was curled up in the computer chair. I had a baby.
You had a baby. You had a babe in arms, literally.
Oh, was he with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been just over 6 months old. So yeah, he was rarely off me.
Yeah.
So that was 7 years ago.
7 years ago. And do you know what? That's kind of funny to me because there was obviously the big gap in between, but it feels like I've always done the show. You know, it feels like just such a lovely thing to do and kind of part of who I am that I forget that there was that huge gap for like 6 years.
Yeah, and when you relaunched, everything is in one piece now anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about me. So
Never.
for the Weave Your Web listeners who maybe haven't heard your show and they want to go back and listen or watch, tell us which special guests you've had on so far.
I've had Tor. I've
Hi.
had you as my first special guest, and it was incredible. So we
Thank
did
you.
one show on Oracle cards. That was absolutely lovely. I had Sinem Salman, also known as Golden Fortune, who reads coffee grounds, the traditional Turkish way, and reads playing cards as well. Um, I had Debbie Squizero from Rhode Island, who is a medium. She was a lot of fun. She gets a lot of messages in song.
Yeah.
So that was, that's right up your street. And I had Tor again, not because running out of people, but because it was requested. And I had Ellie Adams from Saturn Season Astrology, who is an astrologer and an intuitive astrologer
Yeah.
at that. And then we'll still see who I've got tomorrow. Have I missed anyone?
You forgot Laura.
Gosh,
Gosh.
that's really bad. And my beloved friend, very, very gifted, Laura Daligan, who is a psychic and an artist extraordinaire. And she came on and we had lots of fun together as well. I think that is it, isn't it?
In your defense, I think the reason that you forgot Laura is that you two have done so many different shows together over the years. You've been on Psychic Today constantly for years together. You were on MTV shows together, so
Yeah, we
yeah.
did a couple of interviews. Hardeep Does Religion, we're on there together. Grail Trail, when people trace back what was the book called? It was a book about the Holy Grail. I can't remember. It was a huge hit by Dan Brown at the time. Now I can't even remember the name. And we did an interview for a very fancy magazine called War.
Ooh.
Um, I know, with a photo shoot in the snow. Um, uh, so yeah, we've done a lot together, and we entertained in parties together
Yeah.
many times. We entertained together in the launch of
Penny Dreadful.
um yes, yeah, I was like, what's that called? Yeah, in the launch party
Yeah.
of Penny Dreadful, um, for which each of us auditioned separately, and each of us said to the people sort of deciding on the entertainment, I am the best one. I'll bring you my friend. You need to, and that's who they ended up picking, not knowing who that would be. Um, so yeah, I've done lots of work with Laura over the
Yeah.
last more than 20 years,
Yeah.
which is crazy because Laura is 23 in my mind. That's the age she was when I met her. So, so that's the age she is now.
That is an absolutely amazing handful of special guests that you've had on. Very, very varied readers too, right? I think every single one of us work slightly differently, although Ellie and I have in common a love of Sailor Moon that we both use in our practices, although our practices are very different. So I thought that was
Wow.
interesting. Um, which is actually what drew me to Ellie, actually. This is a conversation for a whole other episode, but anyway, Ellie, if you're listening, absolutely adore what you're doing. Where can people find you?
I am very, very easy to find online if you spell my name correctly and don't fall for scammers. So you go with Inbaal, I for India, N for November, B for bottle, A for apple, another A for apple, and L for love. If you put a .com on it, you've got me. If you put it on the link tree, you've got me. I'm Inbaal Psychic on Instagram. I'm Inbaal Psychic on Twitter. But there is a bit of a problem with imposters. So if you're not sure, start with inbaal.com and click through to all the other options.
And of course, in the information of the show, as with last time, Inbaal's correct Instagram will be linked so that people can come right through and follow you and say hello and ask you for a boob reading.
Please go ahead.
Oh, it's flown by. I don't want to end the show, but we have to end the show.
That's all right. I'll come again. You don't even have to invite. Yay. I'll just turn up.
There you go. You all heard it. She said she's coming back. You all got your wish. Thank you so much for coming on again. It's fantastic.
Me. Thank you. The pleasure is all mine. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
I'll see you soon, and I'll see all the listeners next time. Go Power.
The onion is a tuberous vegetable and is a member of the genus Stinkers delicioso. It was highly prized by the ancient Egyptian pharaohs and their friends and cousins. They cause watering of the eyes and rubefaction of the skin, but it is very, very delicious. Onions, onions, la la la. Onions, onions, ha ha ha. Do 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 do. Onions, onions, la la la. Onions, onions, ha ha ha. Do 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 do.